I have a confession to make. I am an emotionally unavailable man. It's not an easy confession to make, but it's something that I want to share in this video as an apology to the women that I've hurt for being emotionally unavailable. In this video, I am going to share with you why I'm an emotionally unavailable man. I'm then going to share what I've seen is a common pattern amongst women that chase emotionally unavailable men. And then I'm going to share two really key tips for what to do if you are someone who is chasing an emotionally unavailable man. If you're new to this channel, please do subscribe to see more videos like this. Please give it the thumbs up if you find the advice useful, because that helps this video get seen by more people that may benefit from this advice. Firstly, what is an emotionally unavailable man? An emotionally unavailable man is typically someone who is unable or unwilling to emotionally commit to an intimate relationship with you. This type of man will often want to keep things casual and undefined in order to avoid dealing with the emotional commitments that characterize a typical long-term relationship. So what is it that makes me an emotionally unavailable man? I've had the opportunity to go through some pretty deep introspection lately, and I've now realized that in my late teens, I had a relationship that's left a lot of personal wounds that has really impacted how I approach my emotional relationships up until today. So when I was in my late teens, I had a girlfriend and we had a very intense relationship, and it got pretty messy pretty quickly. I didn't have the words to describe this at the time, but we were in a codependent and a savior relationship. So she was extremely codependent on me, and I very happily fit into the role of being her savior. So I loved to be the kind of person that would bring her joy and happiness, even though she was quite miserable when I wasn't around. And it wasn't a healthy relationship. We weren't bringing out the best in each other, but what made it really difficult was the breakup. So it was a very drawn out and painful breakup, and it even resulted in some just horrendous experiences. So looking back, I realized that deep down I've made some sort of pact with myself that I never want to bring that kind of hurt and pain to anyone else in a relationship. And it feels like when I enter into something with someone, that that's going to be the inevitable result, that it's going to result in pain and suffering. Of course, in my adult life, I haven't had those thoughts at the front of my mind. It's taken a pretty serious period of deep introspection over the last few years to even have the language to describe that about myself. Where I have got this language from is from the free masterclass on love and intimacy with the shaman Huda Iande, and there's a link in the description below. It's a 1 hour long masterclass, and it is an incredible framework to understand who you are when it comes to relationships. Huda Iande goes through the common patterns of codependency and savior, as well as many other toxic relationship patterns that very often emerge. And there's an exercise in it that helped me to realize that this is actually what happened in the past. So I share this definitely not as an excuse for being emotionally unavailable. I think it's very important to realize that we are not defined by our past. And in fact, that is the purpose for this deep kind of introspection, so that we can become empowered in the present moment to make a commitment to completely change our ways. And that's what I've been going through over the last few years. But the reason I share this is to say that the emotionally unavailable man in your life, if you're here watching this video, you probably have someone like that in your life. Could be very deep reasons for why he's going through what he's going through, and very likely he may not have the awareness to explain that's actually what's going on, and that's certainly been the case with me. Why do women fall for emotionally unavailable men? And why do women consistently pursue men when they're emotionally unavailable? I believe there's a common pattern amongst women that consistently chase emotionally unavailable men. Before I share what that pattern is, first I want you to think about who is the kind of man who is emotionally unavailable. He's probably someone who's already in another relationship, or is in something complicated with something else. He may be someone who just likes being single, or just loves an independent and pretty detached lifestyle. Now, who is the kind of woman who chases these kinds of men? I believe the common pattern relates to where we get our self-worth from. I believe that the women who chase emotionally unavailable men get their feelings of self-worth from being able to open the man up or being able to achieve the goal of making that man emotionally available. The problem with this is that we're putting our feelings of self-worth in the hands of someone else. It works out well if you can actually commit to a man and go through some sort of journey with him and help him to emotionally open up. And I think that could be a very beautiful experience that two people can have together. But what happens if you fail at being able to make this kind of contribution in the man's life? You end up dejected, feeling sad, and feeling the opposite of self-worth. So I think it's very important that we look at where we get our feelings of self-worth from, and we don't want to be getting our feelings of self-worth from the hands of someone else by focusing on someone else. How can you deal with having an emotionally unavailable man in your life? I believe that what's needed right now is to create a circuit breaker when it comes to your own relationships. Now, I'm very lucky myself to have been part of this masterclass on love and intimacy with the shaman Huda Yande. And I do believe that if the men in your life are able to participate in this masterclass, it could potentially help them a lot. But I think that we're making a mistake when we focus on trying to fix the other person. And that's this pattern that has emerged in the first place, where we're always focusing on someone else. We've got an opportunity to focus on the one thing that we can actually take control of, and that is ourselves. So I've got two very key tips from what I've learned about being an emotionally unavailable man, but most importantly from being around women that have chased someone like myself. And I'm going to share these two key tips because they get to the core of being able to create that circuit breaker in our own lives. The first key tip is to make a commitment to yourself. The pattern that I think often exists is that we try to get our feelings of self-worth from someone else. But the key insight is that we have to get our feelings of self-worth from ourselves. In the free masterclass on love and intimacy with the shaman Huda Yande, he takes us through this journey where we go through the common patterns in relationships, but we end up learning that the key relationship that we've got in life is the relationship that we have with ourselves. So it's very important that we focus on this relationship first and foremost, because what ends up happening is that the relationship we've got with ourselves is what gets mirrored in the relationship that we've got with other people. And I'll quote from Huda Yande from this masterclass. If you do not respect your whole, you cannot expect to be respected as well. Don't let your partner love a lie and expectation. Trust yourself, bet on yourself. If you do this, you will be opening yourself to be really loved. It's the only way to find real, solid love in your life. The second key tip is to bring out the hero in him and the hero in you. When it comes to the relationships between men and women, I think that conventional advice tells us that we're very different because of sex and communication. We want different things. And it's pretty easy to think that men and women are different and want different kinds of relationships. But then I came across a concept called the hero instinct, and it's completely changed how I understand the relationship between men and women, and particularly the relationship between women and emotionally unavailable men. The hero instinct is a new concept in psychology that's based on the idea that men have a biological driver to be a hero. It comes from our cavemen days where we want to be the savior, we want to be the protector, and it's still hardwired into our DNA. So instinctually, we want to be a hero. But it gets really difficult in modern day society because it's a little more confusing on how we can be a hero. We don't want to be someone's protector in a really sexist way where people aren't equal, but we still want to be that protector and have that kind of security and stability deep within. Then I came across a free video training by relationship expert James Bauer. That's where I first learnt about this concept of the hero instinct, and it really lit a light bulb in my head. James Bauer goes through how you can use this knowledge of the hero instinct to help the man in the relationship really feel like a hero, but to do it in a very empowering way. So you don't want to do it where you're going to be the savior in the relationship and you create someone who's codependent. You want to do it in a very authentic and genuine way where you can help the person in the relationship go on a hero's journey. And in the same way, you're going on your own hero's journey in your own life and you're helping them help you become a hero as well. So it ends up becoming a very beautiful relationship where two people, pioneers in society, doing great things, getting the best that they can from themselves. There's a link in the description below to this free video by the relationship expert James Bauer. I also encourage you to check that out and keep in mind the free masterclass on love and intimacy, because when you take these two key tips together, which is that you get your feelings of self-worth from yourself, you commit to the relationship you've got with yourself, but at the same time, you also commit to getting the most out of the person you're in a relationship with, helping them to grow and evolve, and in turn, allowing them to help you grow and evolve, then you can create very beautiful relationships. Now, I'm no expert. I'm just someone who is on this journey to being an emotionally unavailable man and doing my best to open up to new kinds of experiences in life. And I believe you're probably one of those people as well. That's why you're watching this video. So do check out those free resources, which are in the description below. And please leave a comment to let me know what you think of this video, so that based on the comments I receive, I'm going to go in and read them and then create more videos on topics that come up in these conversations. Thanks so much for being here, and see you next time.